I'm hooked up to that side. Push a button, motor starts. You have, on the hose, you got about 10-15 seconds before you need to get the water going here. So all the piers are out on the driver's side. Because as the driver, you want to be able to just look over and see. So you should always see that. You'll see two of them when both motors are going. You'll see two streams. They will always be pumping. If they're not pumping, we have a problem in the cooling system. Or, number one thing is in the winter time, when we winterize the boat, we leave the clean out plugs out. We don't like them in there all winter long. And as a new boater, you're going to put the boat in the water next year. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to forget to put those in. So when you fire the boat up, if those clean out plugs are not in, it doesn't seal the jet tube and the water just bubbles and the water can't come up to the motor, so you'll never see it peeing. That's my Saturday right now, 2:57, 2:58, 2:59, 3 o'clock. My last 4 phone calls are somebody yelling at me, "You guys winterize the boat, I put it in the water, it doesn't go anywhere." And I say, "Hey, how about them clean out plugs?" "Oh, son of a bee! I forget about those things." So they have to be in order to seal that housing.
Where do they clean up plugs?
Underneath that rear hatch. Well, I'll show you when we leave the boat, because that's where you're going to fill the water from too.
Okay.
So when the motor's running, you should always see water coming out.
Okay. Water running. Water
Yep.
out.
You will get in the area here. So you have engine RPM. You can have it digital. You can go through all your fuel stuff. We like to leave it on the engine hours for right now because you got some break-in that needs to happen over certain time intervals. But we'll go to, we're out of float mode now. So the motors are running. So you'll get fuel on here. Depth finder will stay. Batteries, you notice that the batteries were 12 volts before, now they're 14.1. That means the alternator is working. We're charging. You should always see that number higher than 12. 13, 13 and a half, 14.1. That means that the batteries are doing their thing. You have the neat ability to drive the boat with one lever. So if you don't like to grab both handles and move them together as you're going, you can hit single lever mode. It doesn't work because I only have one motor running. And you would drive the boat. Both motors would be controlled by just that handle. We've taken all the complications out of things when we give you this fun control box. It's all fly-by-wire. Our other control box has reverse, neutral, thrust director, and forward. There's like 4 different detents. You only have forward, neutral, and reverse because the boat is smart enough to know that you're at an idle. So when you put it in forward, you want thrust director mode. So you only open the boat up, the gates up part way, putting the water down at an angle, making water rudders. As you move past and you get into the acceleration, it flips them up real quick, gets it out of the way, and away you go. I'll show you in the other motor. There's a couple things that allow the motor not to start, depending on where the shift handle is and some other things. But so shifting, forward, neutral. It does actually tell you over here when you're in forward. It goes up to F, neutral, reverse. You have throttle after that. We have this neat thing called no wake mode. In a jet boat, thrust gives you steering. So we have the ability to raise the engine RPMs up without you touching those throttles. So I've given you engine RPMs, which gives you more thrust, and you can just shift forward, neutral, reverse. So as you're coming into the marina, I can give you better steering, and without you having to shift throttle, you're not as crazy. Coming into the actual dock, I find the no wake mode is way too fast for me. The boat's doing 4, 5, 6 miles an hour. That's a little quick. So I will use it to get myself to the dock, but once going into the slip, I will just be an idle. But that also depends on wind and all that stuff. You might need a little extra oomph. The boat is very not that there's a delay. We don't have any. There's nothing in the water hanging down. You don't have an outboard or an outdrive. So when you put the boat in neutral, neutral is really not your friend. Everything else you put it in neutral and turn the wheel, and the boat will still turn. Here we don't really do that. So when you're docking, the secret is when you are coming in, you get forward, you put it in neutral. Don't turn your hand too much, because when you go put it back in forward, where you were here and what you want the boat to do there, all of a sudden now the boat's gonna want to turn. So it's little movements. It's only a turn and a half-ish is all you got, lock to lock. So little movements make big things happen. And that'll be where you're gonna practice. You're gonna have to figure out how the boat maneuvers. In forward, where we are right now, turn the wheel all the way in one direction, and this boat will literally sit here and spin circles. Not a drifting circle like everything else. It will sit here and just do a donut until you tell it to do something else. So it is very easy to come down a slip, turn the boat 90 degrees, and go in. It doesn't happen all that way all the time. You usually you aim at an angle and get yourself in, but you could, like if you drive in, when you back out, you can literally back out, put the boat in forward, turn the wheel, hit the no wake button up one, and the boat will, and out you go. It's
so
really
taking
neat.
it out of the slip, that's a good button to use.
Yeah. Backing up, I always find the boat needs a little help backing up, because you're trying to push all the water underneath the boat. So backing up, I use the no wake mode, but driving into the slip, I find it's a little quick for me. I like a little more control.
So the no wake, you're actually doing some propulsion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're giving it more speed. So it's neat. Like if you guys come out of your marina, you might have an area that's like a no wake mode for a little while. So rather than hitting the throttles and figuring it out, you can actually hit the no wake button and give yourself speed and get yourself up. When you're in no wake, you can hit the minus button a bunch of times to get out of no wake mode, or it tells you you're in no wake mode right on the screen, or just move the handle past the shift point
And it takes it out.
Okay. So if you are using that as like you're coming out, into the marina or out of the marina, and then it's time to go, just dump the throttles, it kicks itself right out. It also works as cruise control. When you're up on plane and you find the speed that you like, hit the button, it'll hold it. If you want to go a little faster or slower, it's little 100 RPM increments. You got like 8 speeds faster and slower than from wherever you set it. Your boat, because of its E series, has another cool feature that's a little nicer for water sports. Usually I tell somebody use that for water sports, like he gets up on the wakeboard and hey, like 19 miles an hour, this is where I want to stay. Boom, you hit that button, and he wants to go a little faster, slower, it's plus or minus, instead of ripping his arms off or sending him a ton of slack because you move the handles too much. But you have a different function for all that. So that's the